What's up, guys? Huge news out of the NHL. A blockbuster trade was completed between three teams: the Colorado Avalanche, the Nashville Predators, and the Ottawa Senators. Colorado has finally traded Matt Duchene to Ottawa. Ottawa has traded Kyle Turris to Nashville, and Nashville has traded a second round pick in the 2018 draft, Samuel Girard, and Vladislav Kamenev to Colorado, and Ottawa sending a first rounder and a third round pick in next year's draft, Shane Bowers, who is a 2017 first rounder drafted by Ottawa, and the Hamburglar Andrew Hammond to Colorado. So now, if we're evaluating this trade, we can notice that Matt Duchene is the best player and is Ottawa that is getting him. So let's take a look at Matt Duchene's career stats, and let's see if he's an elite talent. So this year he has 10 points, 4 goals, 6 assists in 14 games. That is pretty good considering how bad Colorado is. Now, if we take a look at his career stats, he started his career really well with 55 points in 81 games in his rookie year. He had 67 points in 80 games in his sophomore year. And then in his third year, he started to decline. He only had 28 points in 58 games. After that, he bounced back really well with 43 points in 47 games in the lockout year. And then the following year in 2013 and 14, he had his best season yet with 70 points in 71 games. Since then, though, since 2014-15, he has failed to crack the 60-point mark. So many people are wondering if he's a really true elite talent or was he just a good player on a bad team. So let's take a look here. How much of an upgrade is Matt Duchene from Kyle Turris? There's a tweet here by Jonathan Willis comparing both players' productions since 2014 to now. Duchene has 248 games played with 165 points, which makes him have a 0.67 point per game average since 2014, and Kyle Turris has 228 games played and 158 points, which makes him have a 0.69 point per game average. So we can notice that Kyle Turris has actually a higher point per game point per game average since 2014, but that can also be attributed to him playing with Erik Karlsson on the power play and in 5-on-5, and obviously the Ottawa Senators being a much better team than the Colorado Avalanche. Also, basically both players have the same age. Turris is 28, I think, right now, and Duchene is 26, but Duchene is going to be 27 in January, and Turris is going to be 29 in August. So they're basically about the same age when we take a look at it. So yeah, basically I feel like the main reason why Ottawa traded Turris was because they knew that they weren't going to be able to sign him. So in Duchene, they got a player who is arguably better and who is signed until 2018 and 19 at $6 million, but then he'll become a UFA in the summer of 2019. So it is a gamble because Duchene might, if he doesn't like Ottawa, walk out as a free agent in 2019. But it is better than losing Turris for nothing. Now, taking a look at the players that the Nashville Predators are sending Colorado. First, taking a look at Samuel Girard, a second rounder in the 2016 NHL draft. He's only 19 years old, and he's already playing in their blue line. So he has 3 points in 5 games this season. He's listed as 5'10", 162 pounds, so he's an undersized defenseman. But I was reading that he might be an elite player. He had a 1.01 point per game average over his career in the QMJHL. So we all know that he can score, and he's pretty dynamic in over there in the blue line in Nashville. Well, now in Colorado. So Colorado's probably getting a player that might be playing in their blue line this season, and he might be able to help them win games, and he's going to for sure be able to grow in Colorado, obviously playing more minutes than in Nashville. So I think that's a good trade for Colorado. The second player is Vladislav Kamenev, a left winger. 21 years old. He was picked 42nd overall in the 2014 draft. He is only 21 years old, like I said. I was reading that he's projected to be a second line player, second line winger. He has decent numbers in the AHL. Over his career in the AHL, he has a 0.70 point per game average. In 3 seasons, a little bit over 3 seasons, he started playing in the AHL when he was 19. So he's still a pretty young player, but looking at his AHL numbers, I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to make the next step and be a top 6 winger. Maybe a top 9 is more realistic for him, but obviously he's going to have the chance to crack the top 9, top 6 in Colorado more than he had in Nashville. Yeah, that's a pretty good prospect that pretty good 2 prospects that Colorado's getting from Nashville alongside with the second round pick. We don't know who that player is going to be, but it's a pretty good draft pick coming up here in 2018. So now taking a look at the players that Ottawa's sending their way to Colorado. The first one is Shane Bowers. He's actually Ottawa's first rounder in 2017, like I was saying. I was taking a look at his numbers in the NCAA with Boston University, and they're okay numbers. He was actually a controversial pick. I remember when Ottawa picked him this year in 2017 in the draft. Scouts actually described him as a two-way player and more as of a defensive player, which you don't really see that happen in first rounders. So he was a controversial pick, and some scouts actually believe that he might not be able to translate his offensive game in the NHL. So he's kind of a gamble, but he's actually a former first round pick, so he might be able to develop into a pretty good top 9 player, top 6 player. I don't see him being an elite player, but he has a pretty good size, 6 feet tall, 178 pounds. He's a former first rounder, like I said, so he might be able to turn into something if he's given the chance and he's given the time to grow in the NCAA. Now, the second player that Ottawa sent Colorado is actually Andrew Hammond. Obviously, we all know the Hamburglar. He had an amazing run in 2005 to actually single-handedly get the Ottawa Senators into the playoffs. But now his game has obviously dropped. He's playing in the AHL. He hasn't been able to crack the Ottawa Senators lineup over the last 2 years, and he's making $1.5 million per year in the AHL. So that was hurting the Ottawa Senators a little bit. So they decided to get some cap relief, sending him to Colorado for obviously Matt Duchene. Also, the picks that Ottawa's sending is a first and third rounder, like I said, in this year's draft. This is projected to be a very deep draft, so obviously Colorado wants to stock up with all the picks that they can in this year's draft. Like I said, it's supposed to be a really good draft. Now, some takeaways from this trade. Now that we know all the details, we obviously know that Nashville is going all out this season. They traded for an excellent second line center to back up Ryan Johansson, and now they actually have one of the best center core in the NHL with Ryan Johansson, Kyle Turris, and Nick Bonino all signed for many years in the future. So they're going to have an amazing center core here in Nashville to go alongside with their insanely good D-core. We all know about their top 4, PK Subban, Yossi, Ellis, and Ekholm. So obviously I think they're actually considered to be probably my top 3 pick to win the Stanley Cup. I'm calling it already. Now, taking a look at Ottawa, we can see that Ottawa really wanted Matt Duchene, but they were able to trade for him without giving away their top 2 prospects, which are Colin White and Thomas Chabot, which I can consider being a pretty good trade for Ottawa, even though they gave away a first rounder and a third round pick and a former first rounder. Also for Colorado, we all know that they have a bunch of picks now coming up in the next year's draft with a first, a second, and a third coming all out of this trade. As well, they also get a Samuel Girard who can actually step up into their NHL roster, like I was saying. And they're obviously stocked up their prospect pool with Kamenev and Bowers, and they have 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders and 2 third rounder picks right now. They for sure will be getting more from now to the trade deadline. I'm assuming more picks unless they make a really good push to get into the playoffs. So guys, let me know what you guys think about this trade. Let me know who you guys think that won. In my opinion, Ottawa and Nashville, they actually both won in my opinion in short term. But we don't know if if Colorado got the best players, because there's a first, a second, and a third round picks players that haven't been picked, and Samuel Girard and Kamenev and Bowers can turn into really good players in the NHL. So let me know who you guys think won the trade. I think that Nashville and Ottawa obviously won in the short term, but Colorado might actually have the edge in the future. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment like I said for who you think won, and subscribe to see more content. Have a good one.